Loving your enemies can actually make you look bad. It can often make you look weak to the world. You know, and sometimes people will even take advantage of that. And you know, and if you watch all the movies, the Christian movies where everything always works out perfect, you know, you'll have that guy who's got this coworker that's mocking him for being a Christian, and he's just loving his enemies. He's doing all these good things, and that guy's keeps giving him grief at first, but then later they show the guy, and it's just eating him up inside. You know, he's just so overcome with conviction, and just eventually, you know, he just comes running to that man. What must I do to be saved? You know, listen, it always works that way in the movies, but you know what's going to happen sometimes in this world when you love your enemies? They're going to take advantage of you. They're going to misuse you. They're going to persecute you. They're going to walk all over you. They're not going to do a thing for you, and they're never going to get saved. But you know what you will do when you love your enemies? You'll please Jesus Christ. You'll be his child when you're doing that, not because that will save you, but because that's what he did, and that is the goal. The goal is not, or the purpose of loving your enemies is not to love them to Jesus. Because if that's the purpose, if the motivation of loving your enemies is loving them to Jesus, then you know what? That's going to be pretty discouraging. Because you don't get a lot of people saved that way. I know I certainly haven't. I mean, there's been, I don't know if I thought, I don't know if I've ever, you know, just, I did have a guy who was clearly my enemy that I used to work with. This guy was my enemy. I mean, he made my job difficult. I did not like him. And you know what, man? I just, more than once, I'm like quoting scriptures in my head when I'm having interaction with this guy. You know, love your enemies, you know. I'm thinking those things. And I eventually kind of became friends with the guy. Kind of. He actually came and visited our church a couple times. You know, and, you know, we were never close, but we got to where we weren't enemies. He never got saved. But at the same time, while I never succeeded in loving him to Jesus, I do think I succeeded in pleasing Christ in how I handled him. And that needs to be your goal. Because if you just go loving your enemies, hoping you'll get them to be your friend, get them coming to church, you know what? You're just going to find disappointment. He's probably going to take advantage of you. You're going to get discouraged and you're going to quit. But you know what? If your goal is, I want to be like Jesus, then you know what? The results don't matter, do they?